Welcome back to the Clarify channel. My name is Alexi, and in today's video we're going to be talking about something really deep about emotions and something I learned from experience that I just really want to share with you. Very powerful. My nephew and I were talking today, as we often do, about this stuff, shooting back ideas and forth. We were just like, so today we're going to learn a little bit more about emotions for the intellects, because on this channel it's all about helping the intellects connect to their hearts. Yes, connecting to the heart. So without further ado, let's get right into it. When you get some kind of experience happening to you and you feel super emotional, super angry, frustrated, pissed off, or you could go on the other end of the spectrum and feel completely worthless, unvalued, rejected. Whenever you get an experience in a given day and it just like knocks you out, you're just like, whoa, inside emotionally. Even if you're an intellect, you're going to feel these feelings and you're going to just be wanting to run away from them. Run away from the person, place, or thing or group of people that created that sensation in you. And so let me draw this out to you. Here is you, okay? Boom, stick figure you. And what's incredible in this little story here, so fresh off the press, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the best way of explaining it is, but I believe sharing this is a form of caring. And so I'm going to still give it to you, even though it's fresh off the press. So imagine yourself. Somebody did something to you. Somebody said something to you. And it triggers a serious response. Let's call that the big trigger moment. Like, say for example, a little while ago, a couple years ago, somebody put a false accusation towards me. That's a big trigger moment. It just came out of nowhere and boom, now I have to deal with it. I have to deal with those emotions. That's what's called a big trigger moment. And when that kind of stuff happens, it confuses us. It just, like, usually if we don't know how to deal with this emotion, whatever emotion it has triggered, it really gets us into a downward death spiral, an emotional spiral, going down, 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 and down. And eventually we make silly choices, decisions that we end up regretting. So why are these moments so big in our life? Why do they affect us so much? And so just experienced that recently myself. Instead of getting pissed off or angry at the source of the emotion, I sat down and said, okay, whoa, Alexi, what's going on here? And as I was applying the systematization method to this, of unpackaging the gift of this incredible emotion, what felt like an incredible emotion to me, I realized some interesting things and why these moments really kick our butt. Okay, yeah, that's all the stretching I can do for the day. So on the other end of the spectrum, we have these things, what I call the background emotions. The background. Now, I'm not the greatest speller, so you'll hear me do that. So instead of background, I say background so I can make sure I can spell it. So a background emotion. If you don't know, I'm a self-diagnosed dyslexic. Always wondered why I couldn't spell, couldn't read well. And guess what? Come to find out. So there's these things called the background emotions. And what are these things? Well, think of them as an image like this. They're things that hold our heart and our brain, quote unquote, some people use the word hostage, or we are slaves onto them. And so these things, we can have a million different, you know what, let me use a red pen, because these things, this is how they feel. They are some epic lito señoritos. Señor, por favor, do something about this. And what do I mean by these background emotions? What are we talking about? A background emotion could be something like your definition of your worth, your personal worth. What are you worth? What is your value? And these are like huge definitions. Like, what is my value? Your worthiness as well. So your worth and then your worthiness. And these are the definitions that we give to experiences that happen to us. So if somebody didn't like us, or our parents or our siblings or somebody close to us treated us very poorly at some point, a lot of times as kids, we decide that that means we're not worthy, we're not valuable, and all that stuff. Other kind of things are significance, stress, anxiety. These are all background emotions that are never have been unpackaged, or some say they've never been dealt with. I like to use the term emotions that are unpackaged are called background emotions. Background. See, I just realized I spelled background. Background. Sorry, it was a G. So don't hold me to my spelling here. You got the point. So these things are working in the background, and these emotions, because they've never been unpacked, they're always because, like, say, value, you made a definition for a situation. So next time, so these things stay in our back of the mind, and next time something similar happens that triggers this emotion, guess what? All the definitions you gave here will come back bubbling up to your mind. These things run in our background, okay? And now there's a third piece to the puzzle. What is it? I call them the daily mini. So we'll call this one. The second thing that's always there, I call daily mini triggers. Boom, 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 boom. Daily mini triggers are things like you go through the day, you stub your toe, and yeah, maybe a salty word or two, or somebody says something, or somebody slams a brake in front of your car, and you're like, what the? And those are the daily mini triggers. Again, each one is an emotion that bubbles up, or you have to make a new definition for whatever emotion happens. Because these are happening throughout the day, these are things that start putting pressure on our brain and on our mind. And then, because we don't deal with these, eventually they get into here. Either they're become repressed, suppressed, and because they're repressed and not unpackaged, these incredible gifts of emotion, they go into our subconscious. And then eventually this thing happens, and we think it's out of the ordinary, something special happens, something intense happens. And I use that tone because that's how it really is inside. I'm like, oh my goodness, this person said this, or they did that, or this happened to me, or that happened to me, or that didn't happen to me. So we only start paying attention when initially life was like, yo, check this emotion out, like unpackage it. But because you weren't taught, you didn't know, you weren't aware of how to unpackage, they kind of got relegated into our subconscious, the thing that like, these are the definitions we run our whole life by. And then, so these are kind of like, hey, do something. And they pop up once in a while, and they're like, hey, do something with this emotion. And because we don't, it goes back into our subconscious. Then on a daily basis, what we call the daily mini triggers, they're happening, and this is life's way of saying, hey, pay attention to this emotion, do something with it, unpackage it, use it to your advantage, use it to your benefit. And because we don't know how to unpackage these emotions, these gifts of emotions, of life's daily gifts, we only notice when things get to the point where they're a big trigger moment, and at that point, life is like, hey, pay the attention. You got to do something. But the reason things get really confusing and like confusion just starts bubbling out of your heart, you start feeling these things, something happens. The reason this stuff right here, let me use I just pinched my finger. Oh, closing that cap. That's a daily mini trigger right there. It's okay, Alexi. He's got my finger is red now. Now, when these things happen, the big triggers, there's so much confusion inside of us. All of a sudden, guess what? Big moment happens. It triggers all of a sudden these definitions we made over here, and then whatever happened in that day, boom, and all that just like whoosh, your head just goes, whoa, your heart just goes like, I don't like this. And so we just avoid and run away. Worst case scenario is we fight, we attack, we like, again, I'm using this finger because we're like, yeah, we blame everybody else outside of us instead of myself. Let me take a drink of tea here. By the way, it's frigid here in Hawaii on a big island by the beach here. It's like 65 degrees. Let me tell you, that's freezing cold for us Hawaiians here, those living here on the island. And so now you're at the state right here where you get this big trigger. All of a sudden, everything that happened during the day, your daily mini triggers, come up to the front. Your background emotions all come up to your like awareness. Like you're aware of it in your feeling. Even if you're deep intellect, you're going to be feeling really yucky. Okay, hopefully you hear me, guys. Really yucky. And so this is like, imagine somebody gives you a sandwich and you're like, ah, nice. And they're like, you have to eat that. You're like, okay, I'll eat it. And then they say, oh, hold on a second. All of a sudden they take another sandwich, another sandwich, another sandwich, another sandwich, another sandwich. All of a sudden it's like 6 feet long and they're like, here you go. If you looked at a 6-foot sandwich, you'd be like, what in the heck am I going to do with that thing? And they say, what if they also told you, you have to eat that thing, it's all or nothing. That's where you're here right now. It's like all or nothing. Everything just comes puking out. And you're just feeling really, really intense. And you don't know what to do with it. And the best thing you do is you do what you did before. You react. You don't respond because you didn't learn how to respond to these things. And so we do really yucky responses to people. We cut people off. We honk our horns at them. We flip them off in parking lots. We quit our jobs. We start spreading rumors just to make the emotion that got triggered here, that triggered this, at least someone balance it out. Balance has to happen in some way. And so because that's how we balance it out, it eventually gets back into here, into our background emotions that piles up. And so we do not know how to deal with this stuff. And so as my nephew said, he had an interesting thing. He said, wow, that's like, imagine a toroidal field. Boom. This is how our hearts work. It has these electromagnetic fields around us. It's like the big triggers are here, background emotions are here, and the daily mini triggers are always floating above like this. And so big trigger moments, these moments where life is like, these are what are going to be called either your salvation or your demise. Okay? These are the moments where life is like, pay attention. Okay, pay attention, do something with it. Make this emotion, unpackage it. May it be your gift. This is life giving us gifts again and again and again. Make it your salvation. Make it for your benefit. Use it to your gain and to everybody's gain. But instead, most of us don't know. And because we're unconscious, incompetent, we don't know that we don't know. We end up falling into this realm and into this realm here, giving us nothing but poopy results again and again and again. And then we're stuck with anger issues. Well, guess what? That's emotions not dealt with, because anger is not just one thing. It's a whole... Check out the synonyms. You'll see how many words there are. There's anger. We have never defined these emotions for ourselves. You see, everything we do everything we do in our life, every action is a definition. And so I want you to leave you with this thought. Next time you have even a little daily mini emotion, a little daily mini trigger, ask yourself, check yourself before you wreck yourself, and ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? What is it trying to reveal to me? So if somebody cuts you off, like, what? Okay, is that person that just got you mad, that cut you off? Well, ask yourself, what's my expectations? What are my expectations, unexpressed, unmet expectations? So is it my expectations that got me mad, that they did something that was not according to my expectations? Like, that's just one little thing you can do here. So in this video, I just wanted to present this concept, this idea. In next videos, we'll be talking more about how to unpackage the gifts of emotions for the intellects. And if you're not an intellect, stick around, you'll learn a lot. Okay guys, today I'm going to be wrapping this up. Again, we have a lot of background emotions that never dealt with, but they are not just they're emotions, but emotions are like gifts. They're packages put under the Christmas tree of life for us that we can take, unpackage, and just love life with it. The daily mini triggers are things you can also do the same thing. They're little gifts. The big triggers are when life is like, do something now, man, woman, do something, and then you do something. So stick around this channel, share it, like it, yeah, the like button, the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Do all that good stuff.